up, gamers? This is NGG here with my daughter Venus from my Discord channel, and we're here to review Resident Evil Revelations. We're not reviewing the whole collection as only one of them was a multiplayer game, and that was Resident Evil Revelations 2. So I will review Revelations 1 at some point, maybe not, because I played it years ago. But Resident Evil Revelations 2 is a beat game for the two of us, and we are going to get into story, gameplay, and we're going to give it a nice review for you. Okay, so first we're going to talk about story. And so in this story, you start off at like this party, and you are there with other agents. I think it's from the TerraCore. Some Terra. It's like not. It's Terra something. I don't remember the name of it. I just remember had the name in my head. And you're there in this party with a bunch of the agents from that agency, and you just get a new recruit, Moira, in there, and she's at the party too. So you guys are doing some festivities for some reason, and for some reason this helicopter shows up and it like shoots everybody in there, grabs everybody up, and when you wake up again from being stabbed in the neck with something, you are now in this creepy Bud Island, and you are now trying to escape this island. You have like these bracelets on your hand, and eventually you find out that these bracelets can tell whether you're fearful or not. So they start off green when you're calm, they start getting orange when you're a little bit more stressed out, and when they turn red, you don't want to be around anybody whose bracelets turned red for any reason, because that means they're about to become a zombie. And so you are on this island where they're experimenting, and they're using you guys as experiments to test their new virus, and you're trying to escape this island. Jill and Moira sends out an SOS, and eventually 6 months later her dad recovers that SOS, and now he's on the island trying to find you, Moira and Claire. So Barry tries to come find you, and he along with Natalia are along the in the island trying to help him find his daughter. And that's just like the gist of the story, very basic, and then it's all Resident Evil stuff from there.
I think we should mention that first player plays as Claire, and second player plays as Moira in the story. Moira is Barry's daughter, and Moira and Claire are co-workers. Barry, I think, also works for Terra, right?
Yeah, he does.
Which is why he was very insistent. The timeline skip between when Moira and Claire are first on the island and when Barry and Natalia are on the island and fighting their way through the story. It's about 6 months. Natalia is a resident of the island, which is one thing. It's a little strange to me. I think they didn't really go over it in there, but she speaks English. And you can tell from like a lot of the story that English is not the first language for a lot of these residents. They have either heavy accents or have trouble speaking it, I think, or writing it. And I think that's said specifically in some of the journal logs, and you'll find these journal logs all over the world that you're exploring, which is pretty cool. The island is really an interesting place. Your main villain is the Overseer, and we find out, do we say
no spoilers?
Okay, no saying who it is.
No.
But they're known as she's known as the Overseer, and she's the one that's running this experiment. Because essentially the employees of TerraCore have been kidnapped, and it's not all the employees, it's just some for some reason. I think it's just the people at the party.
Yeah, the ones at the party.
Yeah, they were kidnapped, and those people are being used as experiments. I think there were about 6 of them that were taken to the island.
Might be more.
It might be more. We don't know who's died, just who we've seen, and the first person to die is a lady named Gina, who we don't get to know her story at all. We just know that she knows them and that they knew each other.
We're gonna talk about gameplay now, and we're gonna let you handle gameplay.
Okay. So in terms of gameplay, again, first player is Claire. So that's the person who gets all the shooting. Second player does not get to do any shooting. This is not. I think in other Resident Evil games you were able to shoot as second player.
Yeah.
You're not able to in this game. In the story, they explain it as Moira being afraid of guns, and they explain later, like why and what happened. It is kind of frustrating though, just having to watch from the sidelines with your little crowbar and be like, I got it, and I'm on flashlight duty the whole time. And flashlight duty is finding the gems and whatever else. Even when you switch to Natalia, and I don't think we said this, Natalia is a child, if you haven't played the game yet, and she's not carrying a gun. No one's giving her
She gets a brick!
She gets a brick, which is so effective at breaking locks, and that's about it.
She gets the break, and she has the sense. Go ahead.
So the sense was like probably my favorite part about the game. So Natalia, as one of the residents, was experimented on. So she has this kind of, I don't want to say gift because she was experimented on, but she has this ability to sense the zombies. And it feels weird calling them zombies, but they don't give them another name, do they?
No, they are zombies at that point.
So she can sense the zombies through the walls, through the floors, and when they're like inactive and just walking, they'll be yellow. You'll see them on the floor sometimes, and sometimes they still won't like come up. It's very weird, that part of the game, because it's very nerve-wracking seeing a yellow thing and you just have to walk past it while pointing at it and hope it doesn't turn red. Because when it turns red,
then I'm on duty. Barry's on duty for Natalia to shoot down whatever at me. No aim. To shoot down whatever's coming at Natalia. Well, to be fair, they leave Natalia alone for the most part. They run past her. It's Moira. It's Moira that they attack more.
Moira they attack more. Natalia, they do get her sometimes, but I think it was also mostly I was very careful about staying away from that.
I ain't even been it, and I ain't in it.
Yeah, especially after playing with Moira, and I learned how to stay away. Moira, you have to use close range attacks with both Moira and Natalia. So Moira has the crowbar that she uses to both unlock the boxes and to unlocking the boxes was another special thing I had going on for me, but only when I was playing as Moira. Unlocking the boxes and close range hitting zombies, which wasn't very helpful. Even when you hit them in like their bad spot, and they'll usually tell you on the screen you get to point at the bad spot.
If you're Natalia, you get to point at the bad spot. I don't think Moira can see the bad spot, right?
I think if you point... Oh, no. She can't see the bad spot, but she can blind them, I think.
Yeah, she can blind them. Moira can blind them. Natalia can point to the bad spot so that I, the bad shooter, can try to aim better at the spot that's going to hit the weakest.
Yeah, I think we should say weak spot because that sounds better.
Yeah, hit the weak spot. There you go.
But that was something cool. I think something else I wanted to mention about gameplay was in terms of like the map, you can't go back. There's like certain sections where the game saves after you enter that section and you see the place close behind you. It's usually you go through a gate or you slide down somewhere or climb up somewhere and lose the ladder, and then you can't go back, which is kind of nerve-wracking because now you're in a whole new area and whatever you just left, you don't have it anymore.
That's it. You're not getting it back.
Yeah, there were some places where you, if you look around on the walls and stuff, there's like maps though, and that was a pretty cool feature, especially because you had to find the map, so you had to be careful about looking around your surroundings and looking for the map that was going to give you the mini map that had the places to go in the corner, and sometimes that was necessary, especially because we would get lost, especially in the underground places.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, those were horrifying to just like figure out, not even because of the zombies, it was just, especially when they were, actually I'm not gonna get that way. There was one area that was really hard to navigate. Yeah,
so there are a few things I want to add about gameplay. So even though I was the one with the gun, this game is definitely meant for you to not co-op. I mean, it's a great co-op experience, I think, because you definitely have to play both characters, even if you're playing single player. Like, if you're Natalia, which is the little girl, she has to crawl under because she's small to unlock the doors from opposite sides. So she has to literally run around zombies, try to get the door open for Barry so she can get through. And if you're, no, not Claire. If you're Moira, Claire boosts her up and puts her in high places so that she can get other doors open. And what you're doing is a lot of backtracking, it feels like. So the first round, because you go in the first 6 months, you're Moira and Claire, and you're playing it, but every like chapter they give you, the second half of the chapter is like quote unquote 6 months later, and you see Barry and Natalia go through that same map. So anything you took or anything you used is gonna be gone for Barry, so he's not gonna have that as an option. But when you go, you can come back and grab anything that was left over with Barry. You don't remember that?
No, I don't.
That's how come I didn't get as many bullets.
That makes so much sense now. Oh my gosh, she was running out of bullets left and right again. Bad shot. So we would go back with Barry and Natalia, and we're like, we can't find any bullets at all for these million gazillion guns that she has, because she had like 3 at some point, with just Barry, and we didn't have ammo for it. So I was mostly. Oh, I was on bottle making duty, so yes. I was doing
Molotovs.
Yeah, and that was how we were getting around a lot of fighting sometimes.
Or that, or like if it looked like a place was gonna close behind us, we're like, let's just get to the checkpoint, run, gun it. And that was, I feel like that. So this game, I feel like it's definitely made for 2 players. Where some games don't feel like it's made for 2 players, even though. As second player, she didn't have much to do, but she was not invaluable. Like, Moira can blind the zombies on the way to Claire, and Claire can shoot them. So, like, the Moira had her things that she could do, and Natalia, as the second player, had her things she could do. So they weren't, even though they seemed invaluable, they weren't invaluable because without them, you couldn't get past the puzzles.
I think also the fact that it's kind of a puzzle game. You have to use 2 heads for it sometimes, especially when you have to think as your character, because the other person has to think as their character and what their character has the ability to do. And thinking as 2 people, as 1 person, is probably a little harder. But I was able to, my character can do this to help your character. And it made things a little easier. I think in games where it's 1 player that has to switch between characters and think as those 2 players, the AI isn't always so smart.
Yeah, the AI isn't usually. So I found it a fun experience. I will talk about one con to playing this on multi. Well, it's a pro and a con, to be fair. Because as Natalia, when she would point out the weak spots, I could see, because they're both on the same screen, I could see where the weak spots were while she was pointing them out. I couldn't see them as Barry, but I could see them on her screen and then aim at the spots that Natalia could see. So I was like, oh, is that where the weak spot is? Boom, hit it now. Hit it earlier than it would, because you have to hit it at least once in order for it to show on Barry's side. But as Natalia, while I was looking at her screen while she was pointing it, I could see where the weak spot was. But the quality isn't as great on multiplayer. I'll tell you that. This is a very old game. I think this is like PS2 era games. So it's not, the quality's not going to be great, guys. But I think it made up for it in gameplay, because I had fun playing with a second player. I mean,
I thought the quality was great, to be honest, but maybe that's just me.
Yeah. So now is the time where we give. Oh wait, there was one gameplay aspect we forgot about.
Was it the invisible zombies?
Yeah, it was the invisible wasp zombie things.
Those were horrible, but again, with you being able to see on my screen sometimes, that was helpful, because it was also hard to point it out. if I didn't notice it fast enough, and then even if I noticed it fast enough, I had to move away because I can't fight the zombies. And then I think that one in particular moved kind of fast.
Yeah, because it was a flying thing, and if you move too close to it, you would instant kill you because it's invisible, so I couldn't see it. The only thing that alerts you, for me as Barry, was the sound, and it would get a little like darker on screen.
Oh yeah, the screen would get a little fuzzy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was really complicated though, because especially in that there was one area where we died like a few times.
Like 4 or 5, right?
Yeah, because we couldn't see it and
we didn't know where it was coming from.
Yeah.
And even when we knew where it was, sometimes it moved in a different direction than we expected. And so definitely having somebody for that part of the mission, because I think eventually you threw a Molotov at it, right?
I think so.
To get past it.
Yeah. Wait. Because I was playing as Natalia. Is Natalia able to throw Molotovs? Because I don't think she was able to. I think she was able to throw the blinding ones, the smoke screens.
Yeah.
But she wasn't able to throw Molotovs. So I don't think she would have been able to. I don't know how we got past it. I think we just eventually tried enough times and you were able to shoot at least one time.
I'm going to tell you that sounds about right.
Because I think it shows up after you shoot it. Right?
I think so. After you shoot it at least once, you can see where it is. But the finding it was the issue that we were running into. And even though Natalia should be able to see it, she wasn't. Did we get those with Claire and... I feel like we didn't get them with Claire and...
It would have been a lot harder to do, so I don't think so.
Yeah, because Natalia would be the only one who can see them.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's also possible that they created them after Moira there.
I mean, yeah, they came 6 months later. Anyway, so that's it for gameplay for us. What we will do now is give it a rating, and we'll let Venus go first.
Oh, I go first. Ooh, I'm so honored. I think I would give it like a good 4.5. I really liked this game. It was really fun to me.
Huh. I really thought you were gonna give it lower.
No,
because you didn't have the shooty parts. I had all the shooty parts.
No, I think I like the puzzle experience more than the shoot. I'm also a bad shot. I'm not gonna lie. I give you a lot of crap for it, but I wouldn't have wanted to be in your shoes, to be honest.
For me, I think I'm gonna give this a solid 4.5 as well. Actually, I thought it was a pretty good game. I think the only things I thought were like the resolution could have been bumped up a little bit more. But I did like that I could see both screens. Both screens were on there. It was a good play. The only thing was you are definitely I think that's what knocks it for me, is you're definitely repeating the same stage more than once in each chapter. So every chapter you're playing, first half you're coming in as Claire and Moira. Claire and Moira, and the second half you're coming in as Barry and Natalia. So you're repeating the same stage twice. You're going through the same area twice. So I think for me that's where it was getting a little repetitive. But other than that, it was a great game. And they did have some extras at the end. So you beat the game, and there are some bonus stories that were also very nice to have. I'm not going to tell you about them, but there are extra stuff when you beat the game that unlock. Right?
Yeah, and I think we forgot to mention that there's 2 endings.
Oh!
There's 2 endings.
Yeah. And we went through both.
We did both. It was great. I wasn't happy with the ending that I got at first, which is why we did the second ending.
Yep, we definitely got the bad ending first.
Yeah, and I told you it was the bad ending. She didn't believe me that it was the bad ending. I was like, I know, and I looked it up and it was right.
There's something you have to do, and if you don't do it, in chapter, 3?
It's the last chapter for Moira and Claire.
Okay, so if you don't do it in their last chapter, it fudges over the rest of the game. So you're playing on the bad timeline for the rest of it. So there's that. But yeah, I think it was a solid game for me. It's too bad that the other Resident Evils 4 and 5 don't play a little more similar. I feel like they're more action, where I would have thought the Revelations game would have been action, and the other ones would have followed suit to the style, whereas the Revelations games were a little bit more puzzly than the mainline ones, which makes no sense. I would think they would stray off on the other games that aren't mainline games. Whatever they decided to do, this one was much better than 4 and 5. I mean 3, 5, and 6 for me. There you go. We'll get that right. 5 and 6 for me. But with that, thanks for watching, guys. Happy gaming.
Bye.
Bye.